All right. Today we're going to start with going over the syllabus, and that may be about all we do today. I'll see on how we go with time. We will be meeting Mondays and Wednesdays, 9:30 to 11:30. Most sessions through the semester, we're going to use the full amount of time. So be prepared to stay the full amount, because there's a lot of material we're going to be covering and a lot of stuff. So sometimes there's actually a few sessions we'll probably that just going to use up the full amount of time and really be useful. Now, so I'm going to be recording the sessions. So be aware of that it is being recorded. I am going to post them in your class, and I intend to post them in the automatic post in your class. And then I intend to post them in the online section so that they can watch what the live session was like. Okay. I will be doing with them the online. That I do have a 1 hour session each week with them. But that's an optional activity for them. So how many will attend out of the 25 plus students? I don't know. In the past, it's run from 6 to 10 students, usually at best, attend each week. So we'll be, I may be posting the recordings of your class in there also. I may also post theirs back to your class. I'm not sure. I haven't done that in the past. In the past, I've just put the live ones into the live and online, and the online ones just stay in the online. So I'll play that by ear as we go. So that's what we're going to be doing. On where the camera is right now isn't my preference. It's trying to get where it can see something on the board and see me. It's not easy. But basically, I can't go any further than here and still be on the camera. The past experience has been that camera will pick up, the microphone on it will pick up people from all over the classroom. I used to record audio, which is a little pocket recorder, and it would pick up everybody in the classroom right there in my pocket. So just be advised of that. So just know that you are being recorded in here, okay? So that's that part. I am going to go through the syllabus in a minute, show you some stuff in Blackboard and on that. For your class, I think I fixed it in the online, we'll see in a minute. That for y'all, that y'all don't have to do, you're not going to do the no-show assignment as far as for no-show purposes. However, I still need you to send the message to me telling me that you have read the syllabus. Okay, although we're going to go over the syllabus also, so I'll know that you have on it. And that reminds me, we need to do attendance. Now, okay. Now, I don't know why it keeps wanting to do different for me right here. Okay, Timothy. Shelby? I'm guessing you're Esther. So, save that. So at some point each day, I'll get to this, preferably at the beginning, but it's going to take a moment on that. Because since the pandemic hit, from that date, I've taught one class in person. So y'all are on the second one that I've had in person since then. And that one that was in person was that fall, started fall of 2020. So, pretty sure it was that fall. Should have been fall of 2020. And so I haven't taught an in-person one since, so having to figure out what things are as I'm doing it. I have been teaching online ones continuously since, and I was teaching online before that. So, okay. So we are going to be using Blackboard heavily in this class. You are also using online materials that you can't get to yet, because you're going to be using Cisco materials at the Cisco site at medicad.com. I should get you in there later today, because I couldn't put y'all out there in Medicad by school policy until today, and so I haven't had a chance to put students into that. So both your section and the online section, I've got to put everybody into the Medicad. So you will get an email from Medicad, Cisco, or me, and I'm not sure who it comes from. When I get added to the class out there, it will give you information on how you get into the class. Don't go out to Medicad and create an account and try getting in that way. Because it will let you create an account. It's not going to get you to this class. Okay? And then it gets mixed up on that after that. So sometimes it takes some work to undo. And I've had students go out there and then add themselves to some class out there, and that really gets confusing. Those materials are all free for you. What you're going to have out there, I've got the book and I use the book, but in the materials out there, they're giving you a complete online version of the book, actually with extra stuff. This has got interactive things for you doing chapters also. But it's got more than what the book has. So that's the reason we get down optional on the book list. We do get some people sometimes that want the physical book. Comparatively to other classes, that book does sell for a good bit less. I think the current price of that book is about $75. So as far as textbooks go, Cisco books tend to sit on the cheaper side. But you don't need a book for it. But you can do it all from and on. As far as me teaching the class, I had to go through the class, before Cisco gave me approval to teach it. So I'm actually approved by Cisco to teach the class. I went through it actually back in 2001. At that time, there was 4 classes that cover what we now have 3 classes to cover in Cisco. Cisco changed it about 2 years ago from 4 classes to 3 classes. I'm not real sure why they changed it from 4 to 3. And if any of you are planning to go to Cisco option, you're going to find they don't have material balanced real well. So you're going to have a ton of material to learn this semester. And the second course has a bunch of material to learn too. And then when you get to the third course, it's a real life course. The way it used to be with 4 courses, the first 2 courses had bunches of stuff in them, and the last 2 courses were light. And I kept telling them every time they revise it, because they usually revise it about every 3 years. And I go, you don't need to balance it out a little bit. Pull some of the stuff from the front courses and put them in the back courses. Well, they add some things to the back courses, some other new things, and they move some stuff up to the front courses. I never did understand why. And so the front courses have continued to stay on heavily weighted. They have not changed a ton over the time. They've been modernized for newer equipment, newer things. But as far as basic concepts you're learning in the course, in this course is still basically the same concepts as when I took it in 2001. Although it's been modernized, so it's all current. But still, as far as what you're going to learn is that I have to do things for Cisco every few years to continue to be approved. After I took the 4 courses, 3 for you, I did go and take the CCNA exam and passed it at that time. So as far as they're concerned, I'm a certified instructor of classes. Although my certification is out of date because it's been time to renew it. I did go take it again and I missed it apparently by 1 question. It's not an easy certification exam. In my opinion, it's probably one of the hardest certification exams I've taken. Now, there's a few harder ones that I have not ever gotten to, but I've taken some rather advanced exams. I've taken what was Microsoft's most advanced exam, and well, certification. I would say exam, but there's actually 7 exams for it. And that I hold that certification. They changed their certifications all around a couple of years ago. And it's definitely harder than anything they've got out there at this point that I have encountered again. CCNA was harder than probably anything I've taken. I'm pretty sure. CYSA, TIA certified system. CompTIA cybersecurity analyst. I don't know what the letter stood for. Would be up into the same class, but the rest of them would be less fun. No place I've been working, I was teaching in another school back then, none of them have required certifications from us to teach or anything, and nowhere else that I've done work for us required. And actually I've interviewed for some places, and their comment about the CCNA, a couple of them actually required on it. And their comment when I interviewed with them was, you've had it, so you obviously know the material, so we're not real worried about it. Or there was 1 or 2 said, if you come on to work with us, you've got 6 months to get it back current again. So since it came out of my own pocket, the expense for it and the difficulty on it, I chose not to renew it. So I do have a bunch of other certifications out there. So let's go through. I don't know why this thing keeps taking the menu off the left, because on other computers, it all stays there the whole time working. So when y'all are on Blackboard. Usually the menu stays right here for us. But for some reason on this machine, it doesn't want to be there. And that it also doesn't hide this other stuff when it pops up there. So it's trying to give more out here for some reason. That closes that. Let's see if there's something that's a way out. Nope, that's student preview. That's not what I just. Oh, okay. So, when you get on, how many of you used Blackboard before? Has everybody used it? As I've got it right now, it comes to the start page when you come into this class and any of the other, if you're in any of my others. That's not the page it should be coming to. I thought I had it set to come to the start page. It's supposed to be, unless somebody's changed. This is where it should be landing. In a week or so, I will probably change it to where it goes to the home page, not to the start, because y'all have been started at that point. Because with the start page, it is set up with things for you in terms of the first few days. So in a week or so, if all of a sudden when you log on to the class, it looks different, don't panic on that. Look at what's there and notice that I've changed it to where it should be normal things that you're going to be looking for the rest of the semester. You're not going to be looking for my greeting letter to you, which is what this is, with this welcome letter, and which actually goes through and tells you how I've got Blackboard set up, and I'll go through that in a second anyway. And then, we're going through it. It's got the syllabus right there. You'll still be able to access the syllabus. It's in a link on the left that says information, syllabus and information or something like that. Calendar will still be on the left. The link to netacad.com will be there. And I think I've got that set right. We'll look at it in a second to make sure. Because when you go in to take tests, there are links to the test from within Blackboard. I think I've got them all set correctly where they open up in a separate window from Blackboard, not from within Blackboard. Because if they open from within Blackboard, the tests sometimes don't do correctly. Okay, so normally just go straight to NetAcad to open up tests when you go take the test. And then there's some other items down here. Severe weather flyer telling you if we have bad weather, how to find out if we got school or not that day. Basically, go out to the school social media sites and look there. Okay. Accessibility statement, which tells you about accessibility services and stuff. And if you've got any type of disability, and those can be all types of them, they could be ones that are visible, invisible, etc., get with accessibility services on it. I cannot provide accommodations for students unless I'm given a form from accessibility services for that. There's an equal opportunity statement out there, special population flyer for information about people that are in special populations. That's people that are in either uncommon ways to starting into college, or that they fit into different groups that are been marked as special groups. And there's all types of those. And then the textbook, as I note here, as I already told you, it's all there online for you. So you really don't need either. You won't have what would be, it's not going to show up as an ebook, and you don't need a physical book. It's going to show up as curriculum, okay, out there at NetAcad, which I will show y'all in a minute too. And then I got a little graphic showing you what percentage everything is for your final grade. And this is the only class I do that little graphic in, which I had some people do. And then I've got a little introduction down here about me, so you can read about stuff on me. So let's look at Blackboard. Let's go to the syllabus and look at it first. Of course, this puts a preview sheet over on the left. It's not nearly as big as it should be. That's that. Because it is a PDF file, so it's treated as that. So, I'm going to walk through this. So if y'all want to look at it on your computer, also you can, obviously, because we're just in Blackboard, you can log onto it. Okay. But I'm going to go over the important things for y'all to be aware of right here. Course, Introduction to Networks, and it's a Cisco course, and it's the one. If you look on requirements in the CIST programs, you're going to notice that sometimes it shows that there's 2 Introduction to Networking classes. We only do one of them. We only do the Cisco introduction. We don't do the other one. I can't remember what the number of it is. But we don't teach that one. 1140. It's the same basic material, but if a student's decides to go into Cisco, they have to do this one. And if they did the other one when they started out, not knowing what they were going to do, and then decided they were going to go into Cisco, then they had to take Introduction to Networking twice. So we got rid of the other one. But other schools, technical colleges across the state offer the other one, and a number of them offer both of them. We did for a while. So it is 4 credit hours for this class, and it's 6 contact hours is what it's supposed to be per week, although actually y'all meet for 4 hours a week because this is a mixed hybrid one. So there's more, you're supposed to be doing a good bit more outside class. Everybody follow on that? Because part of what you're taking in here, you're supposed to also be learning outside besides doing your studying beyond that. I am Dwight Watt. I'm Dr. Dwight Watt, and I'm the one that's teaching you. And so you got my name. You got a list of some of the certifications I've got right there. The MCSE is one that I've said is a harder one for me. CCNA is not listed because that one's not current. But if you go look at my webpage or look at my list of certifications out there, you'll see it listed, although it says it's expired. Some of these certifications, are lifetime certifications. Some of them are ones that last 3 years. And I've got other certifications beyond what's showing across here. It's like CYSA Plus. Don't think that one shows, which is a 3-year one, and it's a cybersecurity certification. There's my office telephone number. There's my school email address. And in Blackboard, remember, you can just use the email link, and you can choose to send an email to the instructor. If you send an email to me, not through Blackboard, please put on there what class you're taking. Because if you write me about the class, ask me a question about it, and you don't tell me what class you're in, that makes it harder for you. And you're probably going to get an email back asking you what class. Because I'm teaching 5 classes, 6 sections, I think 2411, 2414, 2451, 2550, 2950. So I'm teaching 5 classes, 6 sections. Okay, y'all follow that? So if you write me and ask me a question, I've got 5 other classes I'm teaching, and I got to figure out, would have to figure out what class are you talking about. Because I'll get questions on all of those. So if you send me, email me, please put on there you're in 2451. Okay? Because if you do ask the question about the class and you don't, probably the first thing you're going to get is an email back from me that says, what class? And then once you tell me that, then I can figure out, help you all on whatever it is you're asking me about. And I do answer email during the day. I answer it all day long. If I'm in the office, I'm monitoring email while I'm working on other stuff. And remember, the other 5 sections are all online, so I've got plenty to do right there working on them. But I'm monitoring it normally all along, although I won't guarantee you'll get an immediate response, but a lot of times during the day, between 8 and 4 or so, because that's where my work hours are supposed to fall, you're probably going to get a pretty quick response back from me. But bear in mind, I do wander out of office at times. Obviously, I've got y'all's class on Monday and Wednesday from 9:30 to 11:30. I do take a lunch at some point in the day, and sometimes my day varies depending on other things. Because they do have training they make us do, etc. They added training on us this year that we're supposed to go do, which falls in the afternoons down in Calhoun. So far, I have not done any of that, but there's 14 hours of it I've got to do, so there'll be time on this on that. Because actually, I know what I want to do for 5 hours of it, and I'm not going to stick it to that. So, I am in the office normally all day. I've got office hours here listed through the week, but that's not a limited office hours on that. That's not definite office hours on that. Again, I could be out for various reasons at those times, and so if you're wanting to come see me in the office, send me an email beforehand and tell me when you want to meet me. And I'll let you know if I will be there, and that then I can plan to definitely be there. Because for instance, the mail, when it comes to me here at school, is delivered over in the administration building. And that at some point during the day, and I don't check it every day, the mail, but at some point I got to walk over there and walk back and fix a little bit. Because y'all know where the administration building is on campus from here. So, and lunchtime varies on when I take it. If somebody shows up and says they want to go to lunch, I'll probably go on to lunch with them. If I don't have something else I got to do at that point, that means I may go to an early lunch, late lunch. I may be working on stuff and be later. So I don't go to lunch typically at 12 o'clock, which is what a lot of people think of lunch as supposedly being. I might not go to lunch till 1:30 or something. Does everybody follow on that? So if you do want to see me in the office, anytime Monday through Thursday, I'm usually available between 8:30 and 4 o'clock or so. Okay. Now, it varies on the days. It could be I might get there a little bit later. Normally, I should be here about 8 o'clock in the morning, but by the time I get here and get started, really I prefer not to usually have people coming in to see me till about 8:30. I'll see them earlier. If you need to see me at 8 o'clock in the morning, let me know on that, and again, I can work with that. So that's just, the school requires me to post certain office hours of at least 8 hours a week. Either 8 or 10 hours a week, and so I think I've got 10 of them there. So there's 1 hour today, 3 tomorrow, 4, 5, 8. Looks like I got 9 hours up there. But they tell us we have to have either 8 or 10 hours a week of office hours posted, depending on whether we teach in person or not. If you teach in person, you only need 8 hours a week. If you teach online, you gotta have 10 hours a week. So I think that's where I ended up with 9, was just keep track. But again, I'm not one that's the only time you can see. That it says 1:30 to 2:30 today. Actually, if somebody had shown up this morning at 9 o'clock, I would have met with them at 9, except for I would have wanted to show you up then that I got to go to class at 9:30. And somebody needs to meet with me right after this class or whatever till 4 o'clock today, I'm there. Does everybody follow on that on office hours? Other instructors you may have may be more precise on that and say that's the only times that they will meet with students. And if you got adjunct instructors, they don't even have office hours. So you've got that. Because you notice I say also by appointment. Nothing on textbooks because there is no materials you got to buy for the class. Okay? But you do have a textbook. Actually, it's online in the Cisco, at the Cisco NetKid site. There is also some other materials we're going to use also. Cisco has a second education site, which is actually where their new stuff is, and we're going to use it for a couple of things. And you're actually also going to do some stuff at Tri-Hackman. And all of that stuff is free that I've got you doing. Have any of you used Tri-Hackman before? Nope. Okay. It's a neat one with all kinds of stuff to learning all about actually cybersecurity, but cybersecurity and networking go hand in hand. So I have y'all do a couple of things there to see some other ways you can learn this material also, besides that you can get into some cyber stuff. We meet 9:30 to 11:30 Monday and Wednesday. As far as I know at this point, the only times that I should miss during this semester, I think, but this will vary, could change on it. But at this point, this is what the situation is. On Labor Day, the school is closed, so we'll have no class that day. And that's the only time right now I'm not scheduled to be here on Monday and Wednesday. Now, I could have some type of staff development activity pop up or whatever that keeps me away on a Monday or Wednesday. I will let y'all know beforehand. For instance, at the end of September, later September, I will go to North Carolina on a Thursday and Friday. A Thursday evening and all day Friday, that there's a cybersecurity conference I go to. And I've already been approved to go there. But that doesn't affect y'all on this. Other than I won't be on campus Tuesday, Thursday afternoon through Friday, I believe. So y'all will see that posted in Blackboard, or that an email. Actually, you'll see it posted in Blackboard. I'll have an announcement when that gets close, saying that I'll be off campus those couple of days. And there's other things to pop up. I know I've got to go to a statewide curriculum meeting sometime this fall. because I'm actually in charge of maintaining the networking courses statewide on the standards that we go by. And I know we've got a meeting sometime this fall, but they haven't given us dates on it. It should be in October. Typically, it's on Thursday or Friday. Last day of class is December the 6th, which is when your final exam will be due. All of your assignments and tests have to be completed by December the 5th, although you don't have till then actually to do them, okay? You're gonna have assignments each week, not every week, and tests that'll be on a number of different weeks that'll be available from Monday to Monday. The tests out there at Medicaid, the assignments in Blackboard, those will be due on those dates. Okay, but you can't turn in anything to me after December the 5th, except for the final exam. And actually, the final exam will be available to y'all from the Saturday before that through December the 6th, which I think is like December the 2nd through the 6th, or 3rd through the 6th. Remember which it is, but I've got it set to be available for y'all from Saturday through December the 6th. But people that work on stuff on the weekend in the class can take it on the weekend, or if you work your time, you work on stuff this weekday, that you've got some weekdays to do it on. So I give y'all several days on that. Or December the 6th is the final exam day. Okay. Then there's description of the class, which is actually developed by the state at those meetings that I go to. There's information on COVID ID, COVID-19. I don't know where I came up with the ID from. And that is still very much alive out there. Okay. Well, there's somebody that got diagnosed with it yesterday. So be aware of that. Still, although we're in crowds and everything else for each other. Then in the syllabus, it goes through what the state standard is as far as competencies and objectives, telling you what you should be learning in the class, and it lists all of those. And basically, those are listed chapter by chapter. When we updated the standards last time, when Cisco updated the course, they got put in on approach to matching the Cisco chapters. So in chapter 1, we're actually going over this networking today, which is just a broad introduction to networking, which we will probably talk about that on Wednesday. And so there's all of that there that y'all can go through and look at. I'm going to jump on down through that. So we've got 17 chapters to cover in the next 15 weeks. So there's a few weeks that we've got to do 2 chapters in. Instructional strategies. Basically, we've got lectures and got tests and stuff to do. And attendance. You should be here every day. I am going to take attendance, but there's not anything that you get marked down for on it. But be aware of deadlines, and I'll show you the calendar in a few minutes. If you turn in things late, they will accrue a 15-point a week penalty. And that starts from, if it's due tonight, that starts from midnight with the 15-point penalty. So everybody follow on that? So if it's due tonight, it'd be due at 11:59. And if you turn it in at 12:03 a.m. tomorrow, you'll lose 15 points on it. Everybody follow that? Now, the calendar in the assignments, if you look at what the due date it shows on them, it shows due dates as 11:30, not 11:59. They're actually 11:59, but they don't show up good on the calendar. If I put 11:59, it pushes it down and to the line between days. And so I put 11:30 because then it makes it with a full size visible piece on it. So it shows 11:30 on the calendar, and when you look at the assignment, but you've got till 11:59. So they follow that one. Okay. I'm not going to charge you the late penalty until at midnight. Okay. And now I will warn you this: if you turn it in after 11:30 and you go and look at the submission on it in the grade book, until I get the graded done on it, it's going to say late beside it, and it pops up late on me when I go to grade it. That I look there and notice that it's not, if it fell in that 30-minute period, that it's not late, and I don't charge you a penalty. So in fact, if you turn in 11:45 and it's showing late on it when you do, don't panic about that. Does everybody follow? And that's because that was the way to, when I had it the other way, you couldn't hardly read it on the calendar to know what was due when. So I did that. Okay. As far as how your grade's determined in here, which is probably one of the important things you want it to definitely get out of the syllabus. Because like all those competencies and objectives, you're probably not really caring about that in most cases. But this is a piece that most students, their big part is that they're concerned about. Okay. So your exam, and this class is slightly different than the online one. So if you talk to somebody that's in the online one, they're going to tell you their numbers are slightly different because the online students have to do a weekly discussion, which is 10% of their grade. So one of these, I take 10% out of even the exams or the labs, which that number's lower for them, but then they've got a 10% for discussions. But since you're in an in-person class, you don't have to do discussions because you're participating in class, so there's not engagement you have to do separately. So for this class, your exams, which is your test over chapters, is 40% of your grade. And I think there's about 5 of those. The way Cisco has it set up, they vary on how many chapters are covered on a test. And so what I've got labeled as exams here, I also call test. Does everybody follow on that? So test, exams, the same thing as far as I'm really concerned. And other classes, it could be considered differently. Your labs, which you'll have to do primarily in Packet Tracer, which I'll show you when we get there, which is a simulation environment of the Cisco equipment. And it works just like if you were working on the Cisco equipment, which I will connect those up and show you one day. And I don't know where they have moved a bunch of my equipment to. I think they stacked it in the back of the room. They were going, do you want to get rid of this stuff that we just spent $30,000 on? I couldn't figure out why in the world they thought we want to get rid of all this new equipment we had. But they said they thought it was old. I'm going, no, we got the latest stuff. We also have some older equipment in here, but it works the same. And we can't afford to buy a set of equipment for every student because it's a number of $1,000 a piece for, it's $1,000, $2,000 a piece for each of the pieces of equipment. But the Packet Tracer works just like the real equipment. You also do have, we're going to learn how to make patch cables in here, how to do the RJ45 plugs. That's going to be your midterm lab, and it'll be your final lab. So labs will be 40%. The midterm lab counts into that along with all the other labs you do. And then the final lab is down here, and it's 10% of your grade. The midterm, you're going to learn how to do it, and then you're going to do it without assistance at the end of the semester. Does everybody follow on that? So you'll have done it at midway, and then you come back and do it again without assistance, okay? Or if you get assistance, it cuts your break, which typically students don't. And then I've got it labeled as written final, but that's just a normal, you're going to do it online, so it's not written with pencil and paper, but you'll do it online, and it'll be like your other exams. It'll be, with most of it being multiple choice questions, or there's some matching questions occasionally, and some true false questions mixed in there. So they follow, and it will cover the entire course. Now, the other part that I need to emphasize to you here, to pass this class, the normal grading scale, which is a school-wide grading scale, is calculated using those numbers, okay? But you have 2 additional requirements to be able to get that letter grade. So if you end up with a 93 average, well, you really could. But if you end up with a 75 average in the class, and you didn't take the final exam, or if you end up with an 85, you should do that also. And you didn't take the final exam or the lab final, Cisco says you cannot pass the class and you'll fail the class. The lab final and the final exam are mandatory items. So everybody follow that? Not a requirement that you have to pass those items, but you have to do them. Y'all follow that? If you don't do both of those, I have to give you a failing grade, no matter what everything else averages out to. Everybody follow that part? So when we get down to the end, make sure you do them. There's actually a third little piece Cisco says you have to do also, but to do the final exam, they've now got it set up. You can't do the final exam unless you do this, and that is there's a course evaluation that Cisco requires you to do. In this class, there'll be 2 course evaluations. Cisco has one, which is mandatory, and when you go to take the final exam, if you haven't already done their course evaluation, which I will give you a link to a week or 2 before that, it will make you do it before it lets you go into the final exam. So I don't worry about that one anymore. It used to be separate, standalone, so I tell students they have to do all 3. So now I just have to tell you, you got to do the 2 things. Okay? You can fail the final exam and still pass the class. So if I follow on that, it gets averaged in just like we just said about the balance up there. Okay? That's 10% of your grade. But if you don't do it, you can't pass the class no matter what your average is. Everybody got that part? But I do have students that sometimes, and this goes in all 3 Cisco classes, and actually CIST2451 operating system security also, which uses Cisco materials. And I do have occasionally students that had a really grade and don't go to do the lab final or the final exam. Lab final, y'all should definitely get that done if you come to class like you should be, because we'll do it in class. Okay? But the final exam you'll do outside of class, and you've got to do it. And it used to be when the evaluation was separate, I'd have students do the lab final and the final exam, and I've done everything else, and may have had an A in the class, that didn't do the course evaluation by Cisco, and had to go. So do make sure on that one. So that's why I'm emphasizing on that. Now, the school has an evaluation also that you'll get an email link to from about mid-semester. And I want y'all to do those also, but that doesn't have any effect on your grade. I don't see the results from that until after I submit grades. The Cisco one, doesn't really have any real information on it. It is, would you recommend this to somebody else to take? Was the class pretty well run and stuff? Some very generic questions that I'm not even sure where I go to see the results of that. Okay, and it's information for them primarily. So it has no effect on your grade also. And that I haven't even seen those results in a while. The school one, I do look at those results, and I do make changes in courses based on what's in those evaluations. I have made changes. If you're going to take the other Cisco courses or any of the other classes in cybersecurity or networking that require this as a prereq, you do have to make C in this course before you can go to the next level course. Although D is passing otherwise. So if this isn't a prereq for anything else you're taking, then a D would be passing on it. Academic misconduct. Be aware of that. Don't copy your answers from somewhere else. Don't copy different stuff on it, okay? If you do, I'm going to give you a 0 on the assignment. And if you do it twice, you probably are going to fail the class and you could be removed from school. Everybody follow that? So don't copy the stuff off the internet. And I do catch students occasionally copying stuff. Last semester, for some reason, I had a problem. There was about 5 students that I caught at some point copying stuff. Because believe it or not, I can tell when things are turned in, whether they were copied from locations. Work ethics, we will talk about that through this course. Don't think you get graded on it in here. Because I think in networking and cyber, you get graded on work ethics and CI and Comp 1000. And in networking, I think it's in 2453. No, it's not in 2453 because I didn't do it last semester, I don't think. Is it an advanced course that it gets counted in? But it must be 2453, but I don't remember doing it last semester. Yes, I do remember doing it last semester. Yes, in 2453, if you're in Cisco, if you're in, have to go in Microsoft in networking, it would be in 2414. And if you're in cyber, I think it's in 29. 2921 is not in that program. It's an advanced cybersecurity class because we only grade work ethics in 2 classes, in a beginning one and an advanced one. But it's supposed to be covered in others, so you'll hear me refer to work ethics at different times. Being aware of stuff in those 10 traits. And if you goof up on stuff, I'll remind you about a work ethic you've not been following. So turning things in on time, being here in attendance, and so on are those parts. In your class, we've got 4 students, so we've got 1 that's already missed today. And actually, if that one doesn't show up Thursday, then I have to turn them as a no-show for them to get dropped as not attending the class. Since y'all are here today, you're already a show, because you get counted as, you're only as a no-show if you don't show up the first week. There is counseling services, there's academic support services available at the school. The tutoring center probably can't give a lot of help to you on stuff, because they don't really have people that have taken the Cisco classes. Okay, but I think they've got one that has taken them, but it's been a while, and some of it's changed. So they may or may not be able to help you in this class versus your more general classes. They should be able to
help you. Then there's about accommodations. I already mentioned that to you. If you need to withdraw from the class, hopefully you don't, but if you do, that is your responsibility as student. If you stop attending the class, I can't drop you from the class. Students can only be removed from the class at their request. Does everybody follow that? If you quit attending the class, then when it gets to the end, you're going to get the grade that your grade averages out to, which if you quit attending the class, probably is an F, because in this class, it's probably going to be easy for me to figure that one out because you didn't do the final exam in the lab final. Follow on that? So if you do need to drop, be aware that instructors can't drop you. You have to initiate the drop request with student services. We do have a career services office. If I get any notices about jobs, I will be posting them on the general discussion board in Blackboard. So anytime I get a notice about any jobs out there in our area or wherever, I post them there on the general discussion board. Okay? And that way everybody gets some. We're a no smoking, no tobacco campus, so you got to go out to the edge if you need to smoke. And then we follow the laws on gun carry and stuff. And be aware if there is high school students in a classroom that the rules change from if there isn't students. So just be aware of that. Then down here on the student guide, it's basically giving you what we're going to do week by week. But my suggestion to you is not really use it. Go to the calendar to see what's when. Although they're matching, but this doesn't give you any real details on it here. Okay, y'all follow that? So let me close this, and I'm going to show you the calendar. Any questions on the syllabus? Because here will be where I am going to actually give you the official due dates. And this is where I will change it if I need to. I'm going to show you where I've got a separate little sheet in your class. And this is just in a couple of my classes that list all the things down there as far as what chapters do on what date. But that could change or have an error to it. This is my official calendar. If you go to the calendar in Blackboard. Everybody follow that part? So I may change it slightly still. I haven't done it all on this. But usually I have it marked, a lot of times marked of what chapter we're on which week, and then it'll show, like for this week, because we're doing chapter 1 this week, it'll show chapter 1 showing from the 14th to the 21st. But I have not done that. I don't know if I will do that now. But right now, this shows that it shows in the online classes. But I do need y'all to do, and I'll show it to you in a moment, that I do need you to submit a statement that you have seen the syllabus and Blackboard. Okay? And it gives it in there for you. The problem with this calendar is, with the format it's in right here, is that it hides most of what it shows right here. So you would have to hover over, I think it's hovering over, does it? Maybe you got to click on it. Well, if you click on it, it will tell you what it is that's due. permission form, you definitely do have to do. Okay? And that's in chapter 1. And you can just turn it here into me here in class. You can print it off on the printer there. What that does is that gives me permission to transfer your grades from Blackboard to the Cisco site and from the Cisco site to the Blackboard site. Your test grades are going to automatically appear at Netacad at Cisco. Your assignment grades are going to appear in Blackboard because you're going to submit your assignments in Blackboard. I've got to be able to transfer them both ways because Cisco says they need the information. And Blackboard, I got to have the information to get the grade calculated and put in at the final. So it's a mandatory item. Y'all follow on that? Until you give me that, I can't transfer them between the two. So when you look at either one, the rate's going to look really low because you're missing half the stuff. Okay? And so that's going to be a mandatory thing. But notice it says it's due on the 28th, which is 2 weeks away, at 11:30 that night. But I've got to have that, and that counts as an assignment. But if you click on them, that you can see on your monitor, you probably can see more than what it's showing right here. Because on my monitor in my office, I see part of it across there where you can tell something about what it is. Y'all follow on that? And so there's 3 things due on the 28th. That the module 2 lab is due that day. There is no lab due for you to do in module 1. So if you look next Monday, we have nothing showing there due. The first test actually covers modules 1 through 3. So it doesn't appear till down here. And not sure why it shouldn't be this much stuff showing right here. Okay. Yes, it should be. Okay. So this one that starts with the little lower letter M says it's the module 1 through 3 test. And it is due on Tuesday, September the 5th. Normally that would be due on Monday, because in my classes, things are normally due on Mondays, except for the fact what happens on September the 4th. It's a holiday for you. It's Labor Day. School's closed. We're not supposed to have things due on days that school's not in session, so I pushed my things to do on Tuesday. Now, I won't say for all the other classes you're taking that your instructors necessarily follow on that rule. It's also why things due on Monday is that what they have told me before is that their rules are that it's supposed to be things are not due on days that the school is closed. So that's why I don't have things due on Sundays. But if you like Sunday deadlines, like you do have in some other classes, that shouldn't give you a problem in this class because you can turn everything in on Sunday. You can turn my stuff in on Sunday. Because if we did have a module 1 lab to do, you could go ahead and do it today and turn it in today once I make Cisco etiquette stuff available to you. Okay? Y'all follow on that? You can turn stuff in early. Just don't turn it in late. So if Sundays suit you better as a deadline, you can do that in my classes because I'm making things from a Monday to Monday date. But I occasionally have some student go that they've turned in stuff late to me because I got confused on due dates, that all of their other classes stuff was due on Sunday and my stuff was due on Monday. And I'm going, that bit, that's simple. You can just turn my stuff in on Sunday if that's your way. It's the other way around will give you problems. So just be aware of that. You're going to have, I'm going to show you in a minute that you've got, I mentioned already that you've got some training that's at Skills for All, and that's going to be due here, and you're going to do screen print showing me you did it. So if you were to, I'll flip this on months, You'll notice in September, that one's a much fuller one there. Well, it's overlays from August, but notice there's normally stuff every week. Okay. Everybody see on the calendar? You can also change the appearance that calendar is somewhere on here, right here. So you can actually do it on a day-by-day basis. So if we go to September the 5th, you notice there's a whole big pile of stuff down here. If I set things due at 11:59 on this view of the calendar, you wouldn't be able to see all of that stuff that's down there. It squeezes it down into just a little narrow line at the bottom, which is 5 up to 11:30. Okay. I normally leave my calendar set up in that approach. All right. Now I'm going to go back. So now I also have in your class, which a number of students seem to like, that I do have this printed page of due dates for you, that this is also out there for you. However, be aware that if I tell you I'm changing the date on something you do, the place it's going to change in is in calendar and probably not change right here. This is probably still going to show what was original. So everybody follow on that? So here it says module 1 lab. And there's not a module 1 lab, I don't think. It says it's due on August the 21st. The permission form is due on the 28th, the module 2 lab on the 28th. I didn't think there was a module 1 lab. We'll see in a second. And this also has been copied from the online class, because I set up the online class and I just copied the old for y'all and made a few corrections. I did not change this. So this here shows that you have discussions every week. Ignore that. You don't have discussions in the in-person class. Does everybody follow that? So skip that on this one. All right, now let me go to assignments and tests. That's where you're going to find the assignments and tests of my class. It says lessons, assignments, and tests. Now, I got to change views. Just realize that. Because in the instructor view, it's wanting set up for me building this stuff, so it looks different. So, no, I don't have to. This is okay. I thought I did. So I put the top of the page, it's just some general information there for you. And then I've got an assignments and tests section within the lessons, assignments, and tests. Because there's a couple other pieces here. There's a sample answer form for you that shows how I want assignments turned in. Okay. That's going to be when there's screen prints to submit. If it's just packet tracer files that did not have any questions in them, which most of them do, you're going to submit the packet tracer file. So when y'all do packet tracers, you've got to submit the packet tracer file. But if there's questions in there, you got to submit in a separate document, and that's what this is a sample of. So I'm going to pull it up for you. Downloaded it. Open it. You're going to do it in a Word document, and that you're going to label each step. And when y'all go into the assignments and packet tracer, you're going to discover that they're going to say, I guess I touched the board and just set off something else. So they're going to be in parts and steps, and then sometimes numbers or letters, and then there's the answer to that first question in my sample. The question was found at part 1, step 1, part number 3 within it. Okay. So you're going to label them to where you found the question. You don't have to give me the question, give me the answer. You're going to label it by exactly where is that question located. Any questions on that? And when you get into the first packet tracer, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then if they ask for a screen print, you'll do a screen print using the snipping tool, or as long as you're only using one monitor, you can use the print screen button on your keyboard. Okay, and that puts it onto the clipboard in both cases, and then you just paste it in your Word document. Again, label up where it is. Okay, but that gives you the general layout of what I want for answers to be presented to me. But again, you don't need to type in questions to me. You just need to give me the answers. But they've got to be labeled to where that question was located. Okay, let me change that. And then here, there is, and I think it's on the main menu. There should be a link to Netacad. I think it's there. Let's see if it's there or not. Yeah. So I've got a link to Netacad right here. If you click on it, and I do have it set up correctly, it goes out of Blackboard. It opens up a completely different tab in Windows for you. So it's not opening it within Blackboard. And so you can use it to get to there. Okay. Or you can type in netacad.com. But I will send you that later. I'll go over Netacad another day. And I don't know what I just closed. This should still be that. This is the Netacad link. Okay. But I've also got it right here for you too. Course documents, there could be, if you want to look at PowerPoints that Cisco has developed for the chapters, I think, I'm not sure, let me see. No, the PowerPoints are going to be located in the assignments, in the chapters and the assignments. There are some handouts and stuff that I've got sitting in here that you may find useful. Well, maybe I do have the PowerPoint sitting in here. Yeah, I do have the PowerPoint sitting in here. So if you want to look at the PowerPoints for each chapter that Cisco did, you can. I'm generally not going to use their PowerPoints in class. So, and I want to go backwards. It just doesn't, this screen looks different to me, and it's not as friendly as it should be. But I've got stuff splayed out differently. So that's all stuff that's in lessons, assignments, and tests. But if you're looking for the specific assignments and tests, you'll go to assignments and tests within assignments and tests. Because I've actually moved the test in with the assignments now. So they're not a separate folder just for the test. So then this has got a heading at the top. The no-show assignment, notice it says required to be done first week. That's not true for y'all, but I need you to do it. So if you go in there, you'll see there's a syllabus test, which is going to be asking questions like how many points a week is self-charged for being late. And it's a multiple choice question. It doesn't count in your grade, but so y'all can do that if you want or not. The no-show assignment, I do want you to do this. This is a Dropbox. So you will submit your answer here in the at this point, and it'll look a little different to you because they'll have a submittal button where you'll type your answer in a Word document, save it, and then attach that and submit it. Does everybody follow that? And it's just got to be a statement that says that the big part is I want you to say that you've seen the syllabus. Okay? Because later on, if you go, I didn't know that things would have a 15-point-a-week penalty, I'm going to go by this to tell you, yeah, you did. You signed a statement that said you'd seen the whole syllabus, okay? Or about the fact that you have to do the lab final and the written final. There should be a way for it should easily go back to the other one. So actually, you don't have to do it in a Word document. You can actually sit here in the add comments section and you can just type the statement in there. Okay, so everybody follow that? And then you'll submit it. Okay? But you can do it as a separate document if you want and upload that file. Now your assignments you got to do as a separate thing and that you'll upload files. So why is there not? I'll use the back button. That'll get me there. Okay. So that's within the no-show assignments. And then here we got module 1, which is what we're doing this week. I've got a written up description on it of stuff that the big part is click on it and you'll see within it what you've got to do. So notice the first thing I got here is a note to you telling them there's no labs in module 1. Okay. And then, but there are other things you need to do that is in module 1. So you're not doing any labs at Packet Tracer. You're not doing any labs at Netacad. So everybody follow that? However, you've got a little short course here that goes through and shows you how to get started with Packet Tracer. Goes through and shows you things about Packet Tracer, skills for all. I think I've got to register y'all out there also. So wait to do that till you get a notice about that you've been enrolled to take the class at Skills for All. And that there is a thing about using Packet Tracer to look at Internet of Things to see how you can actually set up in Packet Tracer. You can create a house in there. You can create all kinds of other stuff in there that you have all working together. And you can see how you can have a fan that comes on when it gets so warm or whatever. That you got all kinds of neat things you're going to do in there that are beyond what we're going to do in this class, but you can see what's the possibilities of things can be done in Packet Tracer. Packet Tracer, you can set up a whole lot of stuff. It's not just basic networks. So you got to do that one. And there's a link to the course from there. And then there's another one of where you go through looking at networking with Packet Tracer, which is going to be more stuff that you're really going to do in this class. Okay. And then there's an introduction to Packet Tracer exam that you take at the end of that. And you'll actually get a certificate of participation when you get that one finished for having done the Packet Tracer courses. So you can print out a certificate of showing you took the Packet Tracer courses at Skills for All. So we follow that. Likewise, in the class, at the end of the class, somewhere after the class ends, I will email you a certificate of attendance participation for taking this class from Cisco. And so papers that you can show to if you go for when you go for a job interview, that you can show places of things you've done. Everybody follow on that? So I've got a little notebook that I carry with me when I've gone to interviews that's got copies of my certifications and some certificates like these of attendance at things that I can show to the employers. Here's things I've done. Okay. Besides that, something to keep your hands busy on while you're doing the interview. In addition, there's a Try Hack Me assignment. You'll have to go out to Try Hack Me and create your account out there. And then I tell you a specific thing to do at Try Hack Me, which is called Introductory Networking. Okay? It's a specific course they have out in there. Some of the stuff they have out there at Try Hack Me, there's a charge on that you have to pay to use their virtual machine some more and stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there that's free. Introductory Networking is a free course out there. Okay, does everybody follow on that? So if you go to the correct one, it's not going to say anything about charge. I'm actually pay Try Hack Me right now, but I'm probably getting ready to drop it because they've raised the price. They were charging $10 a month, and they're going $14 a month in October. It gave me longer use on their practice machines and stuff, and so I've gone to paying for it. I haven't done anything out there in the last couple of months because I've been busy with other stuff. But I had done a good bit of stuff, and they had me rated in their top 13% of over 1 million or something people that have used Try Hack Me in some way, and you're going to see yourself get a similar rating. Okay, that it will rate you, and the more stuff you do, and that you can keep on doing stuff in there. And then I'll say some stuff will tell you it costs, a lot of stuff is free, and then some stuff will tell you that it might help if you had more time usage on the machine to do it on the virtual machines. But what I'm requiring you to do in this class for this assignment is purely free. Okay? Everybody follow on that? But you can do it all on the free stuff. Okay? So there's no charge for it. So if you're seeing something about that it wants to charge you, you're not in the right place. Okay? And then the permission form is right here that I told you that you're going to have to do. So if you click on the form, it pops up the form here. And notice it's a Georgia Northwestern form and permission to release educational records. And it's saying it's permission to release them to Cisco. Because I can't put your grades out at Cisco without your permission. And that's from FERPA. Okay? And so you'll fill in your name. I think it asks for your name. It asks for your student number. You don't have to put student number in it, but I do need you to print your name on there. Okay. And I do need you to put the date. And then on the bottom of the form, and then down there it says you give permission to me to release your stuff to Cisco that was listed above. It says this applies to put your email address, name, and grades out there, and it applies to, it's listed 5 courses there, but one of them we don't do anymore. 2454 doesn't exist anymore. I have upgraded the form. So if you take any additional Cisco courses from me, you'll be covered. You don't have to do this form but one time when you're taking a Cisco course from me. Now, if you take it from another instructor here at the college, the next course, which you won't because I'm the only one teaching these at this point, other than the first one. There is 2 instructors in the first one, but as we've got it currently, she is qualified to teach 52 and 53, but it stands right now for those others, I'm the only one that'll teach it. So if you go on and take those others, when I ask for this form, you don't have to do the form again, you just have to tell me I already did it. So everybody follow on that? I only need one. That's just to use the materials and tests and for me to get the grades. You got to sign it down here. So then you'll just turn it back into. So in here, just bring me the printed copy of it. If you are an online student, they have to get me the physical copy of it also. They can't email it to me. They have to get me the physical. I have to have the form with your actual signature on it. Everybody follow on that? So in those cases, because some of you may know students in the online class or whatever, they've got to either bring the form up here to me or mail it to me in normal postal service mail, but they cannot fax or email it to me. And for that matter, if it's a friend of yours and they go, you should bring this to Dr. Watt, yes, that'll work too, where I get the physical form. Y'all follow on that? So I have to get the physical one. So then main thing on it is I need your signature, I need your name printed at the top, and I need the date. Okay? That's all you have to fill out for that form. Do all understand that one? And so Thursday when you get here or after class today, you can sit here, log on and print it out, sign it and hand it in to me, whatever. Okay? And then it actually goes in the grade book, and I've got it as an assignment now in the course. And so when you give it to me and get turned in, if you get turned into me by next Monday, that you'll get 100 on that assignment. Okay? I used to didn't have it as an assignment, and I'd have students, and I still, last time I taught this in the spring, still had students not turn it in for several weeks or wait till weeks into the semester to turn it in. And when you turn things in 6 weeks or later, with 5 weeks or later with a 15-point a week penalty, you end up with a negative score. Now, on other assignments and tests, I'm not going to give you a negative score on it. But this one, there is a warning out there that says, if the late penalty turns it into a negative number, you're going to get that negative number. Does everybody follow? Because this is a mandatory item that I have to have. And I don't know if that clock back there is right or not. It is right. And my watch is finally correct. Because I was in Las Vegas the end of last week attending DEF CON, which is the big cybersecurity conference. And I flew in yesterday, so, and my body's still a little confused on where it is. So I was there, flew out there Tuesday, and I flew back, got in it. Actually landed in Nashville at 6:45 or something yesterday morning. So Saturday night, I didn't get any sleep, and I slept a good bit yesterday, but my body is still confused what time or where in the world am I? All right, any questions on all of that stuff? All that general idea? So it gives you an overview of how Blackboard's set up, what you got to do in the class. Netacad, I'll run over that briefly for you Thursday, and then we'll go through the chapter briefly. There's not a whole lot in chapter 1. It's chapter 1 of books. I don't know if you've ever noticed of textbooks. Generally don't really tell you much of anything, but it's just an overview of what you're going to learn through the course. And then you really get into specific stuff when we get in chapter 2 on. Okay. And then your first test covers chapters 1 through 3, which we won't have due until September the 5th. Okay. It won't be available to you until August 28th. Also, because I'll give you that week to do that test. Any questions on all of that? But I do go to different conferences and training from different places. I got the chance this last week. I went on my own on it, that I paid my own way to it. That I had 2 former students that wanted me to go with them. One of them had gone to DEF CON last summer when she was working in Las Vegas. And she was a graduate from networking here and then went to Kennesaw and got her 4-year degree and got a job in Las Vegas working in cybersecurity. She's now back working from home in Dalton, for a startup firm, working online for them, and they're located in Florida, doing cybersecurity for them. And so she had gone last year, and then this other former student, not sure if she went to DEF CON or Black Hat. I think she went to Black Hat actually 2 years ago. And Black Hat starts just before DEF CON and overlaps a little bit, and it's the more higher professional conference and not as much hands-on stuff. It's more a lot of cybersecurity companies just getting together. DEF CON gets into a lot of what all can you do, hacking and positive and negative ways, and defense and everything else. And have tons of stuff going on. 26,000 people, I think it was, they told us were there. They had made special badges for something like 13,000 people. Fortunately, we didn't get in line to get a registration in time for it. Even if you registered online, which I don't think you can do regular registration online from what I've understood, that you have to go through registration there. The people that can pre-register are ones that are speaking and stuff, and there was tons of sessions and stuff on it. So that we went to a number of different things there. So the other one, former student of mine, that she's working with computer support, doing the computer support and web for a company up in Chattanooga in the gun sales. And then I actually do some sideline support for them along with some other companies. And I've been doing work out in the real world ever since I graduated from college in '79, and I've been teaching from all along there too. So I've got hands-on experience with doing this stuff besides teaching it, and I'm still doing hands-on. Because I helped her install server 2022 just a couple of weeks ago, and we're putting in the last parts of that any day now to virtualize each of their computers out in this shop area that right now are running off the network, but we want to virtualize them. We're going to reset every day. And then we'll have that finished on that and tighten their security further. So, and then I was in Texas a few weeks before that, taking a class for instructors on artificial intelligence. That wasn't the class I thought it was going to be on artificial intelligence. It was in terms of how do you create an artificial intelligence system, which was way deeper than I wanted to get into. And it was supposed to be for what we could teach at technical colleges. They kept telling us all along, you basically need Calculus 3 to do what they were showing us what to do. How many technical college students you know that would have taken calculus? Y'all are probably all going, I don't want to even take algebra that we're going to require you to do. I've never taken calculus. So it wasn't quite what I wanted to do there. And then I was in Atlanta for a computer conference during break, during break, because I was all 16. So I've been all over, and then literally got back yesterday and started today. Okay, any questions on all of that? Then I will see y'all on Thursday. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go a few minutes early today. And then we'll jump into module 1 on Thursday, and I should show you how to use a little bit on Medicaid then too. Okay, go into it briefly. And if y'all have questions or want me to show you something on Skills for All, I can do that also. But wait to start on Medicaid and Skills for All till you get an email with information about how to get it. Okay? So I know Medicaid, you definitely need to wait. And I think Skills for All, I can now create classes out there, and I'll create a class and I'll make it easier for me to get some information. In the case of the Skills for All, really doesn't make any difference what score you make on each of those, as long as you complete them. And then you're turning screen print showing to me you completed it. And if you completed it, I'm going to give you 100 no matter what you made on that test. Okay? Now the test in the class, otherwise, it counts whatever you made on it. You only get one try. But skills for all stuff, you can actually repeat it several times. And the other part is, I just want you to have done it, so I will give you 100 for having done it if it gets done by the deadline. Okay? And it will require screen prints for that. Okay? Any questions? Then y'all can head out and do that Wednesday morning. I may have said Thursday, but Wednesday. I guess my last class I did the other year, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays.